Ever felt that phantom buzz, in your pocket, even when your phone's not actually there?
Oh, yeah,
Or like found yourself just scrolling through endless updates almost on autopilot?
totally. It's such a common feeling these days, isn't it? Social media is just, well, it's woven into everything we do.
Right.
And it really makes you stop and think, what's the deeper impact? All this constant connection, what's it really doing to us?
Exactly. So that's what we're diving into. We've pulled together some really interesting sources to explore the potential, maybe hidden effects of all this social media use.
Hmm.
Our goal here is to kind of understand how it might be shaping our mental health, maybe our relationships, definitely our ability to focus, and even how we, see ourselves.
Okay, so where should we start? Maybe with why it feels so magnetic, so hard to resist sometimes?
Yeah, good idea. Think about those little red dots, the notification badges.
Or the likes popping up, the comments appearing.
Each one gives you that little buzz, that
Yeah.
little dopamine hit in your brain.
Right. And one source we looked at used this great analogy, the slot machine. It really clicked.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
You refresh your feed, that's like pulling the lever,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes, boom, you get a reward, a like, a comment, something new.
It's that randomness, that
Yeah.
unpredictability. Maybe this time, that's what keeps you hooked, pulling that lever again and again.
Precisely. And this isn't accidental. It's not a bug. It's a feature,
Yeah, right.
Tristan Harris, who used to be a design ethicist at Google, he called it attention engineering.
Intention engineering. There
Yeah.
you go.
The whole point is that these platforms are uh, very deliberately structured to capture and hold our focus. It's less about just connecting people and more about maximizing the time you spend engaged.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, neurologically speaking. The material points to studies
Mm-hmm.
showing that using social media actually activates similar parts of the brain as, say, gambling or even substance use, those reward pathways.
Exactly. Which helps explain that compulsion, that almost unconscious urge we sometimes feel to just check the phone again.
That neurological connection is, wow, it's pretty key, isn't it?
It really is. It suggests this is not just a simple choice we're making. There are these fundamental brain responses being triggered and reinforced.
Hmm.
And that leads us to this kind of paradox. These tools are designed to connect us, but sometimes,
They can actually make us feel more alone.
yeah,
Yeah, the illusion of connection.
right. You see updates, you swap quick messages, maybe a comment here and there. It feels like staying connected.
But the sources we looked at suggest those online interactions, they often lack the depth,
Yeah.
the nuance you get face to face.
Yeah, you miss the body language, the tone of voice, all those subtle cues that build real understanding.
True connection often needs vulnerability, shared real-time experiences, stuff that's just harder to get through a screen.
Definitely. And then there's the whole issue of comparing ourselves to what we see online.
Ah, yes, the highlight reel. Everyone's perfect vacation photos, their job promotions, the flawless
Well, though
selfies.
you're just, sitting there in your pajamas, feeling kind of,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, comparing your everyday messy reality to someone else's curated, polished online persona.
And you have to wonder what that does to your self-worth over time. Constantly measuring yourself against these, frankly, idealized versions of life. It can definitely breed feelings of envy or like you're not good enough.
It's easy to forget you're only seeing a tiny, carefully selected slice.
Absolutely. It's not the whole picture. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk productivity, or maybe the lack thereof.
Huh. Yeah, something I think many of us struggle with. The sources really hit this hard. There was that statistic from Rescue Time.
Oh, the phone checking one.
Yeah, the average person checks their phone, get this, 58 times a day.
58. Wow. Just think about what that actually means in terms of interruptions.
Right. Even if each check is just like 10 seconds.
It pulls you out. It completely breaks your concentration. These little micro distractions just pile up.
And it makes it almost impossible to get into that state of deep work, that focused flow where you actually get meaningful stuff done.
Totally. It's like trying to read a book while someone keeps tapping you on the shoulder every 5 minutes.
You just can't get immersed.
Right.
So, yeah, it really seems like this constant need to check, this ambient connectivity,
Yeah.
it can seriously mess with our ability to think clearly and just work effectively.
And it's not just about work output, is it? The impact goes deeper into our mental well-being.
Definitely. The material highlights numerous studies linking heavy social media use with increased rates of depression, anxiety, even sleep problems.
Especially among younger people, which is
Yeah.
concerning, the correlation seems quite consistent across different studies.
There was that University of Pennsylvania study that was really striking.
Remind me.
They had participants limit their social media to just 30 minutes a day, and they actually found significant decreases in feelings of loneliness and depression compared to the control group.
30 minutes. Well, it suggests a pretty direct link, doesn't it?
It really does.
And the sources also stress it's not just about the sheer amount of screen time. It's also about why we're using it and how we're engaging with the content. That context matters a lot for the mental health impact.
Okay, so moving on to something maybe less obvious, but potentially really powerful, the algorithms.
Ah, yes. The secret sauce behind the feed.
Right. It feels like we're just seeing what our friends post in order, maybe, but that's not really how it works, is it?
Not at all. These platforms use incredibly complex algorithms. Their main job isn't just to show you updates from friends, it's to show you content that their calculations predict will keep you engaged the longest, keep you scrolling, clicking, watching.
So the goal is maximum engagement for the platform, not necessarily like maximum connection or information for me.
Pretty much. And one potential consequence of this, which the sources raise, is the creation of echo chambers.
Because the algorithm learns what you like, what you agree with.
Exactly. And so it keeps feeding you more of the same, which means you might see fewer posts that challenge your views or offer different perspectives.
Okay, I can see how that could happen. You end up in a kind of information bubble.
Right. And some argue this can have wider societal effects, potentially reinforcing existing biases, maybe even contributing to polarization because we're not encountering diverse viewpoints as much.
It's like our view of the world starts getting filtered through this code based on what keeps us clicking rather than what we might consciously choose to explore.
That's a good way to put it. A world curated by code.
Okay, that sounds a bit bleak. But the good news is we're not totally powerless here, right? The material also offered some practical steps.
Absolutely. Awareness is step one, like we're discussing now. But then there are concrete things you can do to be more intentional.
Like using those built-in phone features, digital well-being on Android, screen time on iPhone.
Yeah, those are great starting points. Actually, setting limits for specific apps can make you much more conscious of how much time you're really spending.
And notifications, just turning off the non-essential ones, that seems like a simple win.
Huge difference. Fewer dings, fewer buzzes, fewer reasons to just automatically pick up the phone without thinking, less visual clutter demanding your attention.
What about creating physical boundaries, like no phones at the dinner table, or maybe not in the bedroom?
Definitely helps. It creates dedicated time and space away from the screen, which can improve conversations, relaxation, even sleep.
The idea of a social media detox day once a week also sounded interesting, like a reset button.
It can be really refreshing, a chance to totally disconnect and just engage with the physical world around you, you know?
And finally, I really like the point about being more deliberate about who you follow.
Oh yeah, curating your feed.
Right. Actively choosing to follow accounts that genuinely inspire you or teach you something positive, instead of ones that just make you feel kind of inadequate or envious.
That's about shifting from passive consumption to active curation, making your online environment work for you rather than against you.
These are all ways to kind of take back the reins, I guess.
Exactly. It's about becoming a more conscious user because ultimately, social media, as the sources point out, it's a tool.
A very powerful tool.
Incredibly powerful. And like any tool, it can be used constructively for connection, learning, organizing positive things.
Or it can have these unintended negative side effects if we're not really mindful about how we're using it and how it might be, subtly influencing us.
Which brings us to maybe a final thought, something for you listening to chew on.
Okay.
In this world that's just getting more and more digital, are you consciously shaping your relationship with social media? Or is it, perhaps, quietly shaping you?
Yeah, that's a really important question to ask ourselves, isn't it? Something to think about long after this deep dive ends.